Hi, I'm Sala, and in this video we are going to model a DC motor that is driving some load with some inertia attached to its shaft. My system will have an electrical part with some armature resistance and inductance, and it will drive a mechanical part just spinning some load with inertia. And, well, when fed with constant voltage at the input, it will accelerate and accelerate and accelerate until friction, this friction coefficient B times speed, produces a torque that counteracts the motor torque. I mean, DC motors are not usually built just for losing everything to friction. You know, they must move something to do something useful, but okay, this is just the first approach and the simplistic model. In fact, many of the motors you will find in an industry, for instance, they will be alternating current or, but okay, this is just a start in system modeling. Okay, so let's go with the model. Our modeling methodology, to be systematic, we'll start with a first step of drawing the equations of the things I see, disregarding how they are interacting, let's say, and a second step, doing some balances and see how things are connected to each other. So, if we start with our methodology, I see a resistor here, so I will write the equation of the resistor that voltage drop across it is resistance times current. Then I see an inductor, and the equation of an inductor is that the time derivative of the current is voltage drop across it divided by inductance. And okay, I somehow cheated in my methodology because I have already written the same symbol for current, I and I, in resistor and inductor, because okay, they are connected in series. Okay, in a more complex situation, maybe I would have written current in resistor, current in inductor, and then later on analyzed Kirchhoff's law for currents. But okay, in this case, my circuit is just a series connection, so it's trivial. Good. The next thing I see is a DC motor that, if it is, independently excited and things like that, has this couple of equations. First one says that a voltage is generated which is proportional to the rotation speed with some constant k, and with the same constant of proportionality, current multiplied by such a constant gives me the mechanical torque. The proportionality constant is the same if we are, in, let's say, international units or, compatible units, so that, for instance, electrical power, which is voltage times current, must be equal to mechanical power, which is torque times speed. And indeed, with these equations, this will be Ki omega, and then as K omega is capital E, indeed, we have conservation of energy. So this is, let's say, a lossless motor, but okay, we have some losses in the resistance of the windings in the armature, but okay, these couple of equations are the equations of my DC motor, so we are happy with them. And now we see something that is rotating, and then we will write the equation that the angular acceleration is equal to 1 over moment of inertia, that we call it capital J, times resulting torque. And well, I may also write that the derivative of the angle is the angular speed, if I am interested in simulating or controlling the position of the thing that is rotating. If I am only interested in speed control, maybe this cyan equation can be removed. We'll discuss it in a minute. The thing is that after we have written all that, elementary equations, just looking what it is, then we need some balances, saying, for instance, a voltage balance in this electrical circuit, which says that input voltage must be the sum of the voltage drops across all the series connected components. Here we have it. And then also the resultant torque will be the contribution of these two factors. First, the torque produced by the motor minus the friction torque, which will be in the opposite directions to the angular speed times the friction coefficients, lowercase b in this case. So with this thing, we have a complete model because, okay, we need to count equations and unknowns to verify it, but it is correct. Let's count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equations in black and one in cyan. Let me just count the ones in black. We forget this one for the moment being. Okay, so I have 6 equations and unknowns. Well, in this system, I will assume that the voltage in this ideal voltage source is my input that can vary in any arbitrary way I wish. And my unknowns will be the voltage drop across resistance, inductor, and motor. The current voltage drop is already in my list of underlined signals. In here, no new signals. Omega, rotational speed, is again another unknown I must add to my list of unknowns. Capital E is already there. I is already there. T is an unknown, and then no new unknowns here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I have 6 equations and 6 unknowns. So my model is correct from a mathematical viewpoint, if I didn't put the physical equations wrong, of course. So this system of algebraic and differential equations can be solved, can be simulated. What happens with the cyan equation? Well, if I include the cyan stuff, I will have 7 equations, and this theta will be an extra unknown, so I will have 7 unknowns. So the model will again be perfectly correct, so I can simulate position if I wish. But okay, let us assume that this thing is built for some speed control application. So even if I can work with this equation, I will intentionally delete it from my model because I don't need that equation to compute things about the speed, because theta does not appear in these 6 equations. In formal terms, we can say that the position theta is a state that is not observable if the only things I measure are, currents, angular speeds, and the like. So good. I will be happy with this model. So if my problem statement is just get me a mathematical model, then I am finished here. But, okay, in many cases, my simulators or my theoretical discussions further on need a model in normalized state space form. What does it mean? Well, it means that I must keep these equations and current and angular speed will be state variables. So the state vector will be this thing. And in my normalized state space representation, the things that can appear in my so-called state equations are only the input and the state variables. So I need to write my model as this thing where x is current and angular speed. So good, let's do it. The only thing I need to do is, copy these derivatives at the left-hand side of the equal sign. Here we have them, and replace VL by something that I can compute with the equations without derivatives. For instance, I can say that VL is U minus E minus VR, and then I can substitute an expression as a function of the current and constant parameter R, and the voltage drop in the motor is K times omega. And then if I do these replacements, I can write the equation in here, which is in the right form because only input U and states IW appear. Good. And then regarding the angular acceleration, this one, well, omega can stay, it's a state, and the torque, well, I just need to replace K times I. So doing that, I get this equation that describes the evolution of the angular speed as a function of the state variables. So good. This is then the summary of the two most important equations in the model here. So these are the state equations in normalized form, and as my model is linear, these state equations in linear models are usually expressed in matrix form. As we see below, you can just pause and check that if x is this state vector, you can check that carrying out these matrix operations, you get indeed the matrix expression of the linear equations we have on top of it. So this would finish the DC motor modeling phase. So we'll conclude the video here. In this video, we have modeled a DC motor with separate excitation driving a load. We first wrote a first principle model, and then we eliminated all variables except two, the state variables, and wrote the normalized state space representation state equations. And then we wrote that state equations in matrix form because this is a linear system. So with this linear system in matrix form, we can readily analyze it and simulate it in, say, MATLAB or whatever by inputting the matrices to the suitable software or theoretical formulas. So we finish here. Thanks for watching.